Tower Gardening Made Easy, and I'm Sherry. Thanks for joining me today. So I have to harvest a couple of fruiting blocks from your spore. As you can see, I've got this beautiful bouquet of chestnut mushrooms, and they need to be pulled off the substrate, otherwise they're going to go bad. So instead of doing this by myself, I thought I'd just come live for a few minutes and do this together. So before I get started, one of the things I'd like to do, and you should do, a little alcohol, a couple rubber gloves, and sterilize your area. Very, very important. Because you don't want to contaminate the fruiting block because it's going to go back into the Martha tent for another round of mushrooms. So we'll do that at the end. So I'm just going to give us a little paper towel and a little alcohol on the table. We're going to get going. Here we go. So just a little sterilization. Here we go. All right. And then we'll just save that. I'm going to put a little on my hands. Okay. Whew. All right. Put that down here. So you guys get a really good look. It's beautiful. Really, really, really pretty. Okay. So basically what you do is you just want to pull off the X that you made and just slightly, there we go, open it up. And then to secure that the mushrooms have some longevity by putting them in the fridge, you always want to store them in a paper bag. So this cluster is just too big to pull off the substrate. So I'm going to do it in very, very small little areas. And they are ready and they are tough. Whoa. And then as you can see, just pull them off, put them in the bag. If you've watched any of my other videos on mushrooms, I have one video that went viral with chestnuts, and this really is one of my favorites, that and shiitake. I love, love, love shiitake mushrooms. These have a more of a buttery nut taste to them. They're really good in omelets, or if you're going to do like a stir fry with chicken or even beef, it's really, really yummy. So these are tough. They don't want to come off the substrate today. So you just want to rip them off. And I don't wash these. I keep them as is until I'm going to use them. There we go. That's a nice little chunk. And then I just cut off the substrate on the bottom when I'm ready to use them and give them a good just rinse. There we go. So I'm just going to break this into two so I can get it into the bag. But there's a lot of food here. Isn't this beautiful? If I had to guess, this is about 2 pounds of mushrooms. And at the growing rate of in the stores for this is considered a gourmet mushroom. I'm not sure where you guys are from or where you live, but where I am, about 2 ounces of a gourmet mushroom is about $9. So 2 ounces is literally, I'm going to show you. That's about 2 ounces for $10. So imagine what this would cost if this is about 2 pounds. So yeah. So basically at this point, what I want to do is I want to rewrap this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and put these over here. Actually, I'm going to put them on the floor. And we have a mushroom that went rogue. And then again, just going to clean the little surface. Never be too clean. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to rewrap this because that was the first crop with the chestnuts. And basically all you do is just use your common household saran wrap. And I lay it on the table. And at this point, this plastic bag that they came in, it's pretty toast and it's kind of nasty. So what I like to do is just bring it out, and it's moist. It's moist all over. So I'm going to start with this face down where the substrate where they came off of. and give a little wipe on my fingers. And then I literally just remove this so you guys can see. There's a ton of water in that. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this over here so it doesn't spill. And we'll go ahead and clean these. You can't put these dishes in the dishwasher because they will melt. I've learned that. So then just begin taking your saran wrap, and you want to be careful to touch the substrate with anything because you don't want to contaminate it. And I literally just start wrapping. I've done a bunch of videos if you want to go check those out on mushrooms and the fruiting blocks. And basically it's all the same. You can, on some of the mushrooms, you can probably get up to 2 to 3 crops out of. And in some of the mushrooms, you're going to maybe get 1. Some of the easy ones that we're going to pull off in a minute, the blue oysters, I can get up to 3. Each crop is a little bit less and less. Okay, so at this point, it's got a nice little, as you can see on the table, a nice little fold here and on the back. So now what I do is I kind of close in like a little package, you know, a present. And again, be careful not to touch it with your gloves. And then now what I do is I take the saran wrap and I go to those side angles and do the same thing. You want to make sure that this is as airtight as possible because it just keeps the moisture in, keeps the substrate moist, and that's how the mushrooms grow. That and putting them back into the Martha tent, or Norspore has a tabletop version of the tent. But if you have an area in your room, like a closet that you're not using, I highly suggest, you know, putting something in there. So again, the more saran wrap, the better, because it just keeps it nice and airtight. And I haven't sterilized my scissors, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I've learned the hard way that you can't be clean enough because they will get contaminated. And then just give it a little cut. Now, again, this was the first crop, and I'm probably going to be able to get at least 1 more, maybe 2 if I'm lucky. Now, this guy has to go into the fridge, and that is upstairs. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the side, and I've got 1 more fruiting block, the blue oysters, that we're going to do now. But when it comes out of the fridge, and I leave it in there, Norspore says about 24 hours, but honestly, I found that if you leave it in there, and I've done this by accident, up to like 72 hours, 3 days, and then what you want to do is you want to pull it out. So this is where the mushrooms were. I flip it over. So now this will be my cut, and you cut diagonal. And then what you want to do is take a clean pan. And again, you need to wash this, sterilize it, and then just put it aside. And then when you're ready, you put this clean block. And before you put it in here, again, it can't be too clean. Take alcohol with a wipe, and then you literally clean the whole thing. This is sterilized, and then you put this in here. Sterilize your knife, cut it this way, and put it back into your Martha tent, or if you have the tabletop, and you will be able to get another crop. And again, mushrooms are they're so good for you. And the amount of mushrooms that you can grow and put in your salads and your stir fries, or just, I don't know, have them on the side, like as a side dish, as a burger or a steak. They're so good for you. And they're very expensive in the store. And frankly, the ones you get in the store, they're not very good. I don't know how long they've been sitting there. I actually saw a bin of, I think they were oyster mushrooms the other day, and I was looking at them and I'm like, those are gross. Like, I would never, ever buy those. Now that I grow my own and know that, you know, mine are organic and they come out and they're so flavorful, and the amount of stuff that you could do with them is just, it's incredible. So I'm going to go ahead and put this aside, and we're going to get the blue oysters. Put this down here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks for joining me today, so I don't have to do this alone. So fun. I have this great room And it's just so nice to get on here and do some live stuff with you, and really just kind of be hands-on and teach you about mushrooms. All right, so get ready. All right, here's the blue oysters. This is the second crop. So as you can see, it's still a ton of food. And they probably should have come out yesterday, but I just got a little busy being Sunday. So I just let them in there, and overnight, these guys take off. So they don't require a whole lot of light. So if you watched earlier in my videos where my grow room was in the other side and this room was a spare room, um, and I had the mushrooms in here, if I didn't tend to them and you turn the lights out, and then you only give them, obviously they're in the tent, you get the humidity, and then you give them just a little bit of light. And again, this is what happened last night. I thought, oh no, I can get them tomorrow because I don't have time. And all of a sudden, they just went rogue and got huge on me. But that's okay. They're still good. They're still good. So same thing. I'm just going to sterilize my hands. Again, you don't want to cross-contaminate between the blocks. Trusty paper bag. And these mushrooms can sit in the bag in your fridge for a very long time. But I guarantee you, once you start eating fresh mushrooms all the time, they're not going to last. And your friends that you cook for, they're going to want them. So you are going to go through them really, really fast. What I love, excuse me, about the blue oysters is this veil, this beautiful, beautiful veil. It is just so, I don't know how to describe it. If you go into my post, there's a really pretty picture that almost like turns silver. And the way that the photo was, it was like art. They're just the way that they grow. They're really, really pretty. So I'm just going to pull them off kind of a little at a, oh no, it's all going to come at once. There we go. So I'm just going to break them up a little bit because they're not going to get into the bag together. I found that this oyster in the yellow, and I think that might be coming in April. I have a subscription with Northspore, and they send me 3 fruiting blocks a month. And I haven't had the gold, I think it's called golden oyster in a while. So if I had to guess the weight on this guy, maybe a pound, maybe a little lighter than a pound. But again, a lot of money sitting here. So same thing. I'm going to pull this block out. This feels a little dry. But this particular Tupperware you can find in any grocery store, Target, Walmart. It's my favorite. It's very durable. And these guys you can put into the dishwasher and sterilize them. I have a ton of them and I stack them up in the other room. I do have the black containers that I showed you earlier. This guy, if you just popped on here and didn't see these came with the towers, and they came with like the net, not the net pots, but the rock wool. Hello, and they're okay. I mean, they work because they work for the size of the block, but you can't sterilize them other than just hand washing them. So, if you're going to do mushrooms, invest in these guys. They're not that much, maybe like $5 or $6, and I just take the cover and put it away. But they really are sturdy and so so perfect for the fruiting blocks. We'll put this over here. All right, so same deal. We'll get rid of this guy so you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna get my saran wrap. One more spritz. And the reason why I'm cleaning in between is that Tupperware was sitting on top of the racks in the tent. And if you watch the video the other day of me cleaning, I think I did it on the live, of cleaning out the mushroom, is the spores go everywhere. They're on the racks, they're on the sides, they're on the bottoms, they're on the cover. They're inside the filter where you take the filter off, and that little batten cloth where I cleaned it, they're everywhere. So you can't be too careful. So I'm gonna just strip this guy with my scissors. Again, a little squirt here. And the alcohol, oh my God, so strong. I'm just going to clip down on the side. So you can see that I've already done this once. And this will be this will be the third crop going in there. Because if I've already wrapped it once, that means that I used the original wrap the first time. So this will be the third crop on these guys. Coming up. And Again, I don't like to touch this, but sometimes you just have to. So let's see. The mushrooms got pulled off this top, and I want to say that, oh yeah, there's the X. So the first crop was here. The second crop was here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that down, and that will be my third crop. So let's go ahead and just fold this up. And other than being a little bit dry, this guy looks really healthy. There's no mold, there's no green, there's no black. People freak out. Actually, on the chestnut, there was a little spot of green. It's okay. Don't be alarmed. If there's a whole side of the fruiting block that's green, you might want to just go ahead and pull your mushrooms off and call it a day. But if the mold doesn't bother you, you can take a spray bottle just like this. Once it goes back into the tent, once you slice into it, okay? And you can go ahead with a mixture of, so if you're coming up to here with hydrogen peroxide, that's the ones you can use that's, like kind of dietary, like say, like right there, and then fill the rest with water, give it a little shake, and soak the whole area of the fruiting block that had the mold. Put it in there, see what happens. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, then just throw the whole fruiting block out, call it a day, don't worry about it. It's better to be safe than sorry. But I've had that happen. As a matter of fact, I tried to do the grain, and for the life of me, I just couldn't get it. I had a tub, and I put the grain in, and I put the coconut husk and the whole 9 yards. But for some strange reason, after 3 attempts, it just completely failed. It molded on me. I don't know why. And then I just said, you know what? I'm better off with the fruiting blocks. I do really well with these, and it's within my wheelhouse of growing mushrooms, and I enjoy it. I don't want to get stressed out by spending tons of money on the grain and then the tubs, and then not being able to produce food. The whole reason why I'm doing this in the towers is to have food for me and my family and some friends. So I'm going to head and just clip this. Oh, I got talking. All right, so fold it in like a present. I'm going to actually come back in here with the saran wrap. I got chatting. And now do the sides. I'm a righty. And then come over. And what I love about the saran wrap is it's cheap. And you can buy it in bulk if you want. I go through it quite a bit. You can recycle it when it's done if you're really into doing that, but I usually just toss it. And then again, just fold it in like this, like a big ball. And again, this has to go into the fridge. They say 24, but I've found the secret is around 72, no more than 3 days. And the crops that you get after that, again, you're going to put it back into that Tupperware container. This is going to be the side that I'm going to target. You slice it, put it in, and remember to clean everything before it goes in. The brick, the container, your hands, you got to invest in some gloves. I mean, as you can see, the supplies that you need, saran wrap, scissors, a spray bottle, some paper towels, and obviously your Martha tent or your grow container that you're going to use. But after the initial investment, when you think about it and you do, I call it mushroom math. Like if that bag down below, for the people that weren't here, the other bag that I did, that you're just joining me now, this was the chestnuts, and I swear this is about 2 pounds. So as I was saying before in our grocery store, that about 2 ounces is about $10. So this is like over, it's a lot of money. I know I'm not good with math in my head, but this is a lot of money. And so by saving that kind of money, by not buying those expensive mushrooms in the store, you deduct that every time from your initial investment, which is the tent and the fruiting block. So if I can get 2 pounds, even 3 pounds out of this fruiting block, out of 3 crops, this fruiting block, and sometimes North Spore will throw your coupon for like, a couple bucks off. It ends up being about $25. So you're on the backside, if you're, you're saving yourself over $100 in food. And the tent, I think, is around maybe 200 plus, but the amount of bricks that I've put in there through their subscription and what I've yielded for food, it's paid for. So again, I'm not a sponsor for Northspore. At maybe some point someday I will be, but I do believe in the product and I do believe in what mushrooms do. They're just, it's a beautiful superfood. I would put it right up in the category with cucumbers. They're just wonderful for you. And I've mentioned this in another live, maybe in another video, that if you know somebody who's struggling with cancer, it doesn't cure it, but it can definitely help. If someone who has dementia, definitely helps. If someone's that you know is on a statin, um, they need to be eating mushrooms because it's just so good for your memory. There's certain kinds, and maybe what I'll do is I'll post a blog that I wrote on my other website about mushrooms and the different kinds and the properties that it can help with. So I'm a believer. I'm sold. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on the floor and just clean up my little mess here. And anybody have any questions out there? You comment below. I'm happy to help you. Thank everybody for joining me today. It's really nice to see our community growing. And I've got something really, really exciting. So if you guys are around on Wednesday, I don't have the exact time. I'm going to put it in the post area. I'm going to be doing something called Let's Talk About It. So I'm not going to be in my grow room. I'm going to be upstairs at my desk. And what it's going to be is compiling clippets of different forums and different things that people who are in this industry, who are tower gardeners, that are running into problems, and they will post a picture or post a video. And I've kind of comprised a certain amount of, some really good things, maybe some problems. And then what I want to do as a community is problem solve or share someone's tower that looks amazing. So if you want to share your experience, definitely reach out to me. You can do it through any video. I'll see the comment come in, get some pictures up. We don't have to put your name if you don't want to, but this is something that's going to be coming up hopefully every Wednesday. We'll see what the turnout is, but we'll just get it going for now. But it's going to be under my, obviously the business name, the Tower Gardening Made Easy, and it's going to be Let's Talk About It. And it's going to be so much fun. It will be live, so you'll be able to comment, and I'll be able to see the comment come in and then address it right there. So that kind of concludes what I wanted to do today. I didn't want to do this by myself, so I thought I would just come on here and share this with you. And now I've got this gigantic mess to clean up. But things that I'm going to be doing this week is another update on the cucumbers that are over there. We're now about 4 days in, and they're pretty much all up, and they'll be ready to go into the cucumber tower probably by the end of the week. I actually saw some of the roots today, and they're starting to peek through. So that means that we're almost there. So yeah, that's really, really exciting. And then I need to make a decision on the bean tower. I'm not really liking the beans that are coming out. They're kind of really big and aggressive. They're not the bean that I like. So kind of thinking about ripping that whole thing apart and starting over. So I'll think a little more on that tonight. But thank you for joining me. And again, if you have any questions, please comment below, and we'll see you soon.